With 10 quarters of continuous economic growth, President Nicolás Maduro assured that Venezuela advances in the construction of a diversified economy. In Argentina, the Association of States Workers denounced a second wave of layoffs and called for an extraordinary meeting on Tuesday. In Lebanon, a powerful explosion occurred on Tuesday south of Beirut, leaving 4 dead and several injured. Local media highlighted among the martyrs the death of Saleh al-Aroudi, a senior Hamas official. Welcome to From the South. I am Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, assured that the country is advancing in the construction of a diversified economy after 10 quarters of continuous economic growth. During an interview with journalist Ignacio Ramonet, the head of state emphasized that the country has managed to maintain the growth of the 18 productive engines as part of the Bolivarian economic agenda. The president also highlighted that although the central bank has not revealed official figures, the country grew at least 4.5%, thus meeting the growth expectations of the ECLAC. Maduro recalled that this growth is taking place under the blockade imposed by the United States against the country, which has lost 99% of national income and after the theft of more than $21 billion in assets of the nation.
I think that 2023 is a step forward as well. We have 10 quarters of continuous economic growth that started in 2021, and we have managed to maintain growth in what I define as the Bolivarian economic agenda.
President Maduro explained that Washington maintains coercive measures against his country, and Venezuela maintains an unyielding position to completely and absolutely eliminate all illegal sanctions. In a broad account of national and world current events, the Bolivarian head of state narrated how negotiations with Washington have been carried out. He clarified that the imperialist pretensions of the White House have not changed. The concessions and agreements that have been reached were reached in order to guarantee fundamental rights. The Venezuelan president ratified the country's position on the illegal measures and gave account of advances progress made by the national economy against all odds. In Argentina, the Association of State Workers denounced a second wave of layoffs and called for an extraordinary meeting on Tuesday. The Association of State Workers, ATA, denounced that the government of Javier Milei started a second wave of layoffs in the state. The union organization detailed that 550 layoffs were added to the 7,000 dismissed last week. In this context, they called for this afternoon an extraordinary meeting to evaluate measures against the adjustment in the public sector. The meeting will start at 4 p.m. local time in Buenos Aires, where the union will analyze complaints about hundreds of layoffs, sanctions, and compulsory transfers, besides considering the call made by the Central Workers Union. The government of Argentina suspended the access to credits for pensioners and retirees granted through the financing program of the National Social Security Administration. The decision came into effect this Tuesday, being justified by the government with the excuse of safeguarding the profitability of the Sustainability Warranty Fund. Likewise, the suspension of these benefits was published in the official Gazette, and it is the first resolution issued by the National Social Security Administrator. In Argentina, the Congress begins debates this Tuesday on the mega decree law proposed by President Javier Milei. In this Tuesday's debate, the Commission will be set up to analyze in first instance the bill that was introduced by lower house. This bill intends a series of modifications to important laws. Among them, it establishes the free commercialization and eliminates the regulation by the state for the benefit of private capitals. The Congress, in an extraordinary session, will deal with the economic deregulation proposed by the government. President Milei expressed in his year-end message that if the mega decree law is not approved, the Argentine people will experience an economic catastrophe. Speaking during the anniversary celebration of the Cuban Revolution, President Miguel Díaz-Canel reflected on the obstacles the Caribbean nation has faced in the last decades.
Nothing has been easy for Cuba, nor has it been easy for the enemies of the revolution. We have tried everything, and everything has failed, because hatred disintegrates in front of heroical and creative people who choose love and dignity as a formula.
The leader expressed the collaboration of Cuban medical personnel in different parts of the world.
During these 6 decades, 300,000 Cuban health professionals have collaborated in 165 countries, and more recently, in the pandemic period of the COVID-19, some 3,000 members of the contingent Henry Reed provided services in 40 of them. Some 27,000 young people in 100 nations have graduated from Milan Latin American School of Medical Sciences, and more than 4 million low-income people in our region and Africa regained their vision with the Operation Miracles. This is also the revolution, coherent with the example of Ernesto Guevara, the beloved Che.
The historic leader of the Cuban Revolution, Raúl Castro, said that despite the difficulties imposed by the United States, it was possible to build a just homeland.
We have had to face the permanent and perverse aggressiveness of the enemy, who have turned even to military invasion, to terrorism, and to a ruthless and healing blockade condemned by the overwhelming majority nations of the world in their failed attempt to destroy our revolution, and we raise this impeding example for other people that it is possible to build a just and humane society with equal opportunities for all.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In Lebanon, the deputy head of the Hamas political bureau, Saleh al-Arouri, was assassinated during a direct attack by Israel on Beirut. Local media reported that a drone launched 3 missiles at an apartment and a car parked in front of a building in the Al-Dahiyya area of the Lebanese capital. Media reports stated that the attack targeted an office of the Palestinian resistance movement, Hamas, in Mashariya. They also detailed that in addition to the deputy leader of Hamas, 4 other people were killed while others were wounded. The Israeli bombing is being carried out amid the threat of war due to Tel Aviv's attacks on the border towns in southern Lebanon and its continued aggression against Gaza. Following the assassination of the deputy head of the Hamas political bureau, young people from the city of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank took to the streets to denounce Israel's crimes. Demonstrators rejected the killing by the occupation of the leader of Hamas, as well as the attacks perpetrated by Tel Aviv against Lebanon. Demonstrators also called on the international community to intervene immediately and stop the assassinations committed by Israel against the Palestinian people in Gaza. The Al-Aqsa Mahdi's Brigades issued a statement following the assassination of the deputy head of the Hamas resistance movement. We mourn with pride and honor the martyred national leader Saleh al-Arouri. We in the Al-Aqsa Mahdi Brigades affirm that the assassination of leaders will not deter us from fulfilling our national duty to defend our people and will only increase our determination to resist and liberate. The enemy must answer for all crimes against our people. For his part, the Secretary General of the Islamic Action Front party in Jordan, Murad al-Adaile, rejected the assassination of the deputy leader of the Hamas movement, Saleh al-Arouri. In this regard, the Secretary of the Islamic Action Front assured that the Palestinian people will not hold back for the cowardly murder committed by the Israeli occupation. On behalf of the Islamic Action Front, he recalled that al-Arouri had a long history of struggle and played an important role in the project to unify the Palestinian struggle. Finally, he added that the death of al-Arouri will unleash the energies of the Palestinians in defense of the liberation project. Authorities in Japan reported on Tuesday that at least 48 people were killed in the 7.6 magnitude earthquake that struck the west coast of Japan on Monday. According to authorities in Ishikawa Prefecture, 20 fatalities were confirmed, in Suzu City 19, in Jahima City 5, in Namao 2 in Anamizu, 1 in Hakui and 1 in Shiga. The earthquake was felt over a wide area from Aomori Prefecture in northeastern Japan to the Kyushu region in the southwest, forced the suspension of bullet trains and knocked out power to more than 32,000 homes. Tsunami warnings were initially issued for coastal areas in 5 prefectures, but the waves did not reach the height that was feared. It was the strongest earthquake since record began in 1885, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. In this context, a Japan airline plane caught fire and collided with a Coast Guard plane at Haneda Airport in the city of Tokyo. The airport authorities reported that the 367 passengers and 12 crew members who were on the plane at the time of the collision were extracted in time before the aircraft frosted. The airport security cameras captured images of the aircraft enveloped in flames while the passengers and crew members were exiting. Meanwhile, the authorities reported 5 people dead, all of them belonging to the second aircraft. Firefighters and emergency personnel continue on the site to provide assistance to civilians. In Indonesia, more than 2,000 residents have been evacuated to temporary shelters amid heightened volcanic activities in a volcano in the country's east. Mount Lewotowi Laki in East Nusa Tenggara province has erupted several times in recent weeks, including an eruption on Monday that swept volcanic ash 1.5 kilometers above its peak. The Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard recorded another eruption from Lewotowi Laki on Tuesday, but ash clouds from the volcano were not observed. Volcanic ashes from recent eruptions have affected 2 sub-districts near Lewotowi Laki mountain, prompting more than 2,200 residents to evacuate to temporary shelters set up by local governments. The Southeast Asian archipelago sits on the Pacific Ring of the Fire, an area of intense volcanic and seismic activity. Indonesia has nearly 130 active volcanoes. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. In Somalia, vowed to defend its territory on Tuesday after a controversial deal between Ethiopia and the breakaway state of Somaliland that it branded an aggression. The deal was announced in Addis Ababa on Monday, only days after Mogadishu agreed to resume dialogue with the separatist northern region after years of stalemate. Somaliland, a former British protectorate of about 4.5 million people, has been seeking full statehood since claiming the independence from Somalia in 1991. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said in a statement, Ethiopia would formally recognize Somaliland. The Somalia cabinet denounced that move as a blunt assault on the independence, sovereignty and unity of the Federal Republic of Somalia, and announced it was recalling its ambassador to Ethiopia for consultations. The cabinet also said it was seeking urgent meetings of the United Nations Security Council and the African Union to discuss Ethiopia's aggression and interference against the sovereignty of our country.
Yesterday, we were committed, and today, we are still committed. No one is going to be able to give out an inch of Somali territory. There is no way for us to do so. Somalia belongs to Somalis. Somalia belongs to Somalis. That is our stance. We will die for that cause and will defend every location where Somalis belong to.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has condemned the Ukrainian rocket attack on the center of the Russian city of Belgorod, which killed 25 people, including 5 children. Our correspondent Oleg Yasinski has the details.
Russian President Vladimir Putin calls the Ukrainian missile attack on the Russian border town of Belgorod a terrorist act.
What has just happened in Belgorod is, of course, a terrorist act. Why? Because 2 big-head missiles were fired from multiple rocket launching systems right in the center of the city, where people are walking on New Year's Eve.
Putin assures that the Russian Defense Ministry will respond with an increase in high-precision strikes on military targets, not allowing itself to be led by provocations to carry out similar acts against civilians.
We are attacking with high-precision weapons the places where decisions are made, the places where the military and the mercenaries are gathered. Other centers of this kind, first of all, the military installation, and these attacks are very sensitive.
On December 30, the Zelensky government attacked a public square in Belgorod, resulting in some 25 deaths, including 5 children and 109 wounded, 45 of whom remain in hospitals in the regional center and 25 in the federal center.
At the end of 2023, the enemy struck a blow and put pain in our hearts, killing children, adults, destroying, wounding, and we understand even more against whom our soldiers are fighting, defending our country, our freedom.
As an immediate measure, the Russian Ministry of Defense, acting on orders from the Kremlin, has ordered some 20,000 Russian troops to be on duty at border crossing during all holidays until January 8.
South Korean opposition leader Lee Hae-jung was attacked and injured by an unidentified man during a visit Tuesday to the southeastern city of Busan, emergency officials said. Busan's emergency office said Lee was attacked as he visited the construction site of a new airport in the city. It said Lee, head of the main opposition Democratic Party, was conscious, but his exact condition was unknown. South Korean media cited witnesses as saying the man used a knife-like weapon to stab Lee's neck. TV video showed Lee lying on the ground with a person pressing a handkerchief to his neck to stop the bleeding. The report said police arrested the man on the spot. They said the attacker was wearing something that looked like a crown on his head. Lee lost the 2022 presidential election to President Yoon Suk Yeol by a narrow margin. In China, a wind energy park with an average altitude of 4,650 meters was inaugurated in the Xiangshan Autonomous Region in the southwest of the country. Located in the city of Nanshu, the project has 25 turbines capable of providing approximately 200 million kilowatt-hours of electricity per year, saving around 60,000 tons of standard coal. This wind farm is expected to reduce carbon dioxide emissions by around 160,000 tons. This energy transition is one of China's goals in its path to the green development and carbon neutrality. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media: Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.